I grew up on a farm, and every year we would plant cotton, and I was one of the ones that would try to plant the cotton with the tractor and try to get it in straight lines. I never could get it in straight lines, but it would always get planted. And then we would hope that the storms would come, and pretty soon the plants would start to come up, and we would go out in the fields and we would remove all the weeds, and we would do all of these things to make sure the cotton was ready to go. But my dad was the one who really knew how to drive the combine, how to operate the combine. He was the pro at the deal. We were the ones that kind of planted and took care of everything else. And so we'd make sure everything was ready, and then once the cotton was ready to go, once it was ready to be harvested, here come my dad, and he would combine everything, and everything would be perfect. He would make little hay bales with the cotton plants, and we would have cotton. That was the hope for the cotton plant, was that my dad would do a good job of harvesting all of the cotton. We would always wait for him, and if he did his job well, everything was perfect. That's what we were always hoping for. Now in Mark chapter 1, we see the story of a man named John the Baptizer, and he's preparing the way for Jesus. And here's what he says about Jesus. In Mark chapter 1, verse 7, he says, "As John was preaching and saying, 'After me one is coming who is mightier than I, and I am not even fit to stoop down and untie his sandals. I baptized you with water, but he will baptize you with the Holy Spirit.' And in those days Jesus came from Nazareth in Galilee and was baptized by John in the Jordan River." Today I have two questions for you. Two questions for the Christian legacy. Two questions that will help you decide what happens next and who comes after you. Question number one, what are you doing that requires something mightier than you? John in Mark chapter 1 verse 7 says, as John was preaching, he said, "After me one is coming who is mightier than I, and I am not even fit to stoop down and untie his sandals." Now when Jesus does address John in verse 9, when Jesus addresses John, he's going to treat John much better than John thinks he deserves to be treated. But I find it amazingly humbling. I find it inspirational that John the Baptizer would say, "There's somebody coming after me, and I'm not even fit to tie his shoes." That's how much mightier than me the follower of me is. The one who is coming after me. The one who will finish my job. What are you doing that requires something mightier than you? Someone mightier than you. Question number one. And then the question number two, what are you doing today that God will complete tomorrow? As we planted the cotton, and then we would also plant peanuts, we planted all kinds of things. As we planted those things, we knew that somebody would come and finish our job. He was the master of the farm. He was the owner of the place. That was my dad. Someday, John would say, his dad is coming. And once dad comes, my job will seem very insignificant. But my job will have a purpose. All that I do to prepare, it will take place. It will be fruitful. It will be harvested by the Master. Verse 8 says, "I baptize you with water, but he will baptize you with the Holy Spirit. And it'll make the water that I baptize you in, it'll make it look pale, but my water will prepare the way." What are you doing today that God will complete tomorrow? Your challenge is this. Prepare to be outdone. Get ready for Dad to come after you. He will make all things new. Hope you have a great day.